Hey, so I'm over here at Royal Victoria Hospital in Barrie. My name is Michael Whone, and I'm back with another block rocking book review, this time of J.G. Ballard's Crash. Um, I read this book a few weeks ago. Um, I was pretty happy with it. I always know when I like a book when I read it pretty fast, and I think with this book I got through the first probably 150 pages like within a day or two, and that's always a good sign. I think my first impression of this book was that it seemed like kind of a lot of gratuitous sex. It seemed like almost gross out kind of humor in a way. Not really humor, but this just humorous undertone throughout the book of like, what are these two idiots gonna do next, which was kind of enjoyable. And I felt it was a good feeling reading the book because I was always wondering like, oh, what are these two idiots gonna do next. But it was very it's a lot of sex in moving cars with ex car crash victims. And it's almost like he had a medical dictionary to describe all the different injuries that people in car crashes have, and also like a medical dictionary to describe all the different parts of genitalia and stuff like that on a very consistent basis, which was a little gratuitous, but also kind of enjoyable. The language was kind of almost strange, and I wouldn't say it was totally gross, or disgusting, but it was very, very different, and I liked it. It was very, the words were, it wasn't very typical the way he wrote things, and I think there were a few themes that kind of made it through the entire book and made the book cohesive as a piece of cultural kind of a poignant kind of cultural exposition, or but I think it had to do with a lot of opening up about sexuality and stuff like that. And this was written in the 70s, I think. Originally published in 1973. And it was made into a movie in the 90s, in the early 90s, which was a fairly popular movie. But I don't think looking at the book, I think it couldn't really be done exactly as the book was written, because there's a lot of stuff in there that would be really difficult to film. And this is indeed a book that is not scene by scene like in a movie. This is very much a novel and written for the novel form. And there's kind of a theme of open relationships. So the main character, who's actually called Ballard, so his name is Ballard in the book, and he's writing in the first person, although it doesn't really come off as first person. And he's in an open relationship, it seems, with his wife, Catherine, and then they have some romantic trysts with other people in the book, and the story kind of builds on that throughout. And there's a lot of conversations between the two of them about their sex life and stuff like that, which is interesting. And I think overall the book kind of has to do with opening up about sexuality, which is a fair topic, fair enough anyway. I mean, maybe some people have problems with that their sexuality is kind of a covert thing and don't like to open up, but I mean, still, it kind of gets you thinking about what possibilities are out there. There's a lot of stuff that maybe is a little bit distasteful in the book, but overall I liked it. I like the way he writes, and there is kind of another aspect of the book which I think had to do with something maybe in the media at the time when he was writing the book about car crashes and the like actual amount of car crashes and the amount of people who have survived car crashes, and the fact that this seems to be an ongoing thing with car crashes. And there is actually a word for a person who is has a sexual kind of fetish for cars and car accidents. I think I couldn't pronounce the word. I came across the word somewhere else as I was reading this book, but I couldn't pronounce it. I can't remember what it is, but you can look it up. So yeah, I think there is that kind of as an undertone or a bit of a theme throughout, but I don't think it really speaks about opening up about sexuality. And I think like a lot of the characters are less than desirable characters, and I think the movie didn't really have the same thing, like where the characters are kind of less than desirable physically and basically intellectually at the same time. Although one of the characters is kind of like supposedly an intellectual kind of photographer and media person. But I think overall I really liked this book, and I read it pretty quick, and I think the thing is that it surprised me. Every turn of the book kind of surprised me in a way and that I wasn't expecting, and I thought that was great. So here's Crash, J.G. Ballard. If you don't feel like reading it, another book by him that I really liked was High Rise, and they made a movie of that also fairly recently. And it's kind of, High Rise is kind of, it seems a little more significant now that Trump is president, and the kind of pitfalls of that, if any. I mean, I don't want to take sides, but yeah, it seems like kind of a book that would be a little more popular for this day and age. But that's about it. I'm also reading the book I read before this, so it's been a while since I did a book review. The book I read before this was The Alchemist, and I didn't really like it too much. It seemed kind of I guess a little, I don't know what to say. It seemed a little far-fetched for me. It didn't seem very realistic, but I think people like that book for different reasons, for its kind of spiritual nature, and I couldn't really get into it in that sense. But so it's been a while since I did a review, but I did really like this one, and I'm reading Growing Up at 37 by Jerry Rubin, former social activist in the United States in the 60s and 70s, and I'm not sure I'll do a book review on that, but I have some other books that I'm reading upcoming, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for tuning in again, and I'll see you soon.